Pleased with your guys' offensive approach today?
It was better. Yeah.
The first 2 innings, obviously back-to-back 5-run innings. I don't think maybe one extra base hit, but just a lot of singles, some sacrifice flies. Just how do you like that instead of you talked yesterday about going for the bigger swing? How do you like this approach instead?
Well, credit to Coach Martyr and the hitting coaches for making the adjustment on what we didn't do well yesterday and what we did do well today, right? And Jack deserves a lot of credit for that. Marcus Hinkle deserves a lot of credit for that. And Brett Thomas deserves a lot of credit for that. Those guys in one day were able to correct some things that weren't necessarily proud points of our staff last night. And you saw what you described, a lot of opposite field singles, just base hits, solid approaches, working walks, getting hit by pitches and sac flies. I mean, it was an impressive first inning for sure.
Yeah, Jeff and Ryan both driving 4 RBIs today.
Yeah.
Just again, more production at the bottom of the lineup, and Carter had a couple of nice swings. Just how nice is it to have the 7, 8, 9 guys be pretty darn damn productive?
Well, to be honest with you, you probably make a case for the fact that those guys have been our toughest outs, our most productive players. Defensively, offensively, collectively, they've really done well. Ryan Cooney's really done well so far for us this year, and he had another outstanding day today. I think the player of the game could have been Hurd, could have been him, could have been Santi. Knox threw really, really well at the end. But Anson Arrows, had a heck of a day as well, and he made an unbelievable diving catch in the outfield with the bases loaded and 2 outs to end an inning. And so, there was some really remarkable play.
Tonight was the first true bullpen game we saw from your guys. How do you think the team responded to that?
Some guys did well, some guys didn't do as well as others.
I think the rainy conditions, led to some walks, maybe some misplayed balls. How'd you guys react to kind of a sloppier game at first?
Well, I don't know. I think we only made 1 error, and it was kind of on a tough play to Carter down the line, and so that was a tough play with it being kind of an odd play there. There were some loose things that got away from the opposing team, but I thought our team for the most part played pretty clean. In pieces we didn't pitch clean, but and in pieces we did.
Good to see Chase back out there behind the
really
dish.
Good.
How'd you thought he looked tonight?
Well, I didn't. He's just coming back. This is his first couple at bats. He got his first hits and RBIs, and he's a hitter. He's just really good to have back. And I think you saw his presence probably carry one of the young guys through his outing today, just kind of going out there and settling him down. And it's an old guy. He's been around, and he's got a lot of stock in the locker room.
A couple times this past weekend, you guys jumped out to an early lead, and then the offensive production kind of stopped, allowing teams to catch up. Did you like tonight? You guys were able to produce, through 8 full innings.
Well, again, credit to Coach Martyr for getting the guys prepared to go today. It's not easy. Yes, you've got conditions or whatever excuses you want to use, but right. But the bottom line was his coach and his, and Coach Hinkle, Coach Martyr, Brett Thomas. Those guys got those guys ready to go today, and it was an impressive offensive performance.
What does Chase bring to your lineup, especially hitting him there in the 3-hole?
Geez, I don't know. He brings leadership, and he's just a really advanced hitter. I think in the Cape, I don't know what he ended up hitting in the Cape Cod League. He only went out there for a half a summer, but he might have been in the top few hitters in that league at the end of the summer, even just being out there for half of the summer. He's really advanced. He's gotten really strong. The best thing is from a defensive standpoint, how well he played defensively. The way he's throwing the ball and the way he's catching is like he didn't miss a beat.
Your roster this year has so many left-handed bats and guys that can hit from both sides. What kind of advantage does that give you against teams that maybe only have primarily righties? You saw the effect that their lineup had when they roll out 7, left-handed bats, and the effect that can have, because you're able to really match up against certain type of pitchers really well, and then shoot. When those type of guys can't hit left-handed pitching, you could have a problem. Our guys tend to handle left-handed pitching pretty well, and so it's good. But yeah, the more balance you can have in your lineup and your roster is really the goal. A couple guys just drag out really long at bats tonight. Yeah. Maddox did in that last inning. What kind of pride do you guys take in being a tough out?
Well, if you were looking at last night's tape, you'd say probably not a lot of pride, and if you looked at tonight's tape, you probably said there's a lot of pride. And so, that's going to be something we need to work on, is getting the consistency, because, at times we've really got it, and it looks like one heck of a tough lineup to get through, and then other times we haven't had it. And so, one day, good day. Hopefully we can build off the one day. And, last night was a day where we felt like Jeff Hurd was a guy that really led us from an offensive standpoint on a day that was a stinker of a day. But we felt like Jeff Hurd did everything that you're always asking for, and he did it again today. And he's been a leader of those kind of tough at-bats. And so, hopefully that gets contagious even more than it did today.
Hey, Coach, you guys were hitting tons of home runs early in the season, but today you guys got it done in a different way.
Yeah.
What type of play style between the power versus the contact do you want to see your team sustain throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah, good question. Just balance, right? I mean, I think there probably could have been a couple of home runs today if the wind wasn't blowing in and it didn't play as big as it did tonight. But you just want to be able to win when the wind is blowing in, or if it's blowing out. You want to be able to win in a multiple of ways, and I think we're showing that we can do that, so that's a positive. We're really disappointed in what happened yesterday. It's going to take a while to be able to get over that sting, like maybe a long while. There were just too many details that got away from us, and that hurt program-wide, all the way up to me.
You mentioned Garcia as a guy who pitched well today. He struck out his final batter at 93. Just what kind of an arm can he help bring to your bullpen as a lefty, as a guy who can be multi-innings as well?
When you watch him pitch, sometimes he can pitch in the major leagues. He's just not consistent yet. There's nights where it looks like he could be pitching in a big league bullpen, though, right? And so he's a tremendous kid, tremendous young man, great family. That can be a huge asset, especially neutralizing, really good hitters, because he's got multiple pitches that are good.
The bunts continue to be very clean down that left field foul line. What do you like from that small ball?
Just another way to be able to get a base runner, really, and it's an unselfish way of playing. We think the game usually rewards you when you get hit by pitches, take your walks, and just play unselfish baseball. The game usually rewards you with hits down the road.
You mentioned Hanson's highlighted real grabbing left. I just want to know how far he's come from being a guy who would occasionally go out there into being what is now kind of your everyday left fielder.
He's elite, right? He could, I don't know if you played him and Mason somehow when we watch them both play center field in scrimmages. It's pretty impressive to see those two guys playing against each other. I mean, they're both center fielders is what it is. And Answer's just, he's got that dive down where he can make some unbelievable plays. He must have learned it from Betcher.
Going into the second series of conference play, what are you looking forward to bring going into Minnesota from this series and just the season overall?
Yeah, great question. We're looking to sustain what we saw today, right? And just build. We're just trying to really value the details of the game. And, like I've said many times, I mean, I told the team this morning or this afternoon before we started, last night's game was on me. That was my fault 100%. And we had some details get away from us individually as players on the field, but it was strictly my fault. And I apologize to the team today because I did a really bad job yesterday, and I was glad to see him pick me up today, and I'm glad to see the fact that these guys are hungry and they want to continue to grow and sustain what they're building. And I think they saw and made a statement today that even despite the conditions or whatever, they were still especially the hitters, they showed up and played clean baseball. They got after those guys, had really short strokes, made some adjustments, and that's what we're looking to do is just get better every day.